Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. I'm going to share something with you guys that I think will help you. But again, you guys know my platform is for intelligent black people or those who want to be intelligent. So I'm about to get a little bit deep on you, but I'm going to keep it real short because I think I can explain this in just a couple of minutes. It's about decision making, and decision making is incredibly important, especially if you're black, because good decisions can make a huge difference between being rich or being poor, being happy or being sad, being locked up or being free, being alive or being dead. So I think about decision making a lot. Decisions are an area where you have a lot of personal power, and good or bad things can happen based on what decisions you make. So I'm going to give you a quick blueprint on how this is, the church of Boyce, if you will, how to make the right decision in life, how to always make the right decision, or how to never make a wrong decision. First, I'm going to give you the simple solution, and then I'm going to give you the deeper solution, the one that I apply to my life as well. The simple solution is this. When it comes to making decisions, do your research, take your time, don't make snap decisions if you can avoid it. Get information. The more knowledge really is power, because knowledge tells you what's down the road. Whereas if you don't have knowledge, you're kind of like a blind person trying to get through a room. A person who has knowledge of where everything's located is going to find their way around the room faster. Life is like that room. Get advisors. Whatever age you are, listen to the OGs on the block. Listen to the people that have gone through what you've gone through, so they can share the game with you. Because there's probably a million things that you're going to run into for the first time that other people have already gone through 2 or 3 times already. So that's the simple solution. Okay, 2 minutes, right? Not even 2 minutes, about 90 seconds to break that down for you. Here's a deeper solution. Maybe this might take 3 minutes, but I hope it's worth your time. This comes from mathematics, and you guys know my PhD's in finance. I studied a lot of economics, statistics, mathematics, and of course finance is sort of on top of all that. It just leads to a lot of deep thinking, and I like to apply it to life. I don't think it's just something you apply to business and academia. It's something you apply to life, and so I apply it to my life all the time. And there is this concept in mathematics, and I've mentioned it on my podcast before. You might have heard it, maybe not. It's called dynamic optimization. And dynamic optimization kind of, sort of, in a shorthanded way, sort of means you're dynamically. Dynamic means you're constantly shifting and adjusting and taking in information and adjusting according to that information. And the optimization means that once you take in the information, you make the best move for yourself based on that information. And so dynamic optimization tends to involve little things like little tricks like looking at where you want to get to and then backing up to where you are and saying, okay, based on where I'm trying to get to and where I am, this is the next best step. It also means sort of sticking and moving, ducking and dodging, minimizing unnecessary constraints. The more constrained you are, like you think about it, imagine you boxing, right? But you boxing with your hands tied behind your back, and you got to stay in one spot. Well, you can't move as well as if you can move around the ring like Ali and duck and run and back up, come in, back up. You know what I mean, right? So life is the same way. If you create constraints on yourself, either through poor choices of the past, or maybe you got a bunch of babies mamas, or a bunch of bad decisions have put you in a bad situation, a bad marriage or whatever. It's a little bit tougher to make a move than it is if you are completely free. That's why I say freedom and options are very, very important for black people in terms of having happiness. Happiness tends to be very connected to freedom and options. So with that said, here are a couple of things to keep in mind. When I try to make good decisions, a couple of things that come to mind are, one, I make decisions usually without much stress. The reason is because there's this thing called your subconscious mind that processes information at a level that you can't process it. In fact, if they were to take every supercomputer on Earth and put them all together, they could not simulate the processing of one human brain. So you literally have this supercomputer on your head called your subconscious mind that's taking in information even when you're not aware of it. That's why you have weird dreams and all these things that you didn't even know about, because your subconscious mind is taking all that in. So if your brain, like your mind as far as what you think you know, is your conscious mind, the subconscious, if if that's the tip of the iceberg, your subconscious mind is the iceberg itself, right? So the tip is small, the iceberg itself is big. That's how they program black people, is they get you through your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind has taken in information. It's been picking up game. If you are good at something or you spent thousands of hours doing something, you can make decisions quickly on instinct because your gut is already telling you what the next move is because your subconscious mind has already processed everything. So when I make a lot of decisions, I just say, gosh, I don't even know if this is the right choice, but I'm going to go this way because my gut's telling me to go that way because I know my subconscious mind has processed a lot of information and is pushing me in the right direction. So there are no wrong decisions in that regard. The other part comes down to something I read when I was in college. In grad school or something, I read a book by Michael Jordan because I'm fascinated by anybody who's great at what they do, who's the best in the world at what they do. People like that, they think differently from everybody else. I don't care about the politics. I just like the fact that Jordan was a great basketball player, and there was a psychological reason he dominated all these other players. So, long story short, I remember one thing Jordan said a long time ago that stuck with me, and I agree with this to this day, is he said, greatness is really about a philosophy. Do you have a philosophy of life that just makes you great? Like, are you a person who just works harder than everybody else, goes a little bit further, pushes farther, faster, harder, just goes in and is a little more intense? If that's your life philosophy, if that's just who you live, if that's just how you roll, if you just about that life, then it's hard for you to make a bad decision because whatever bad decision you're going to make, you're going to hustle your way out of that. You might put yourself in a hole, but a hustler will always find a way out of the hole. You take Eliud Kipchoge, fastest marathon runner on earth, you could put him in the front of the pack, he's going to win. You put him in the middle of the pack, he's going to win. You put him at the back of the pack, he's going to win. Why? Well, because he's always running fast. He's always the best, no matter what. So even if you start him in the back, he's still going to end up at the front. So most of the time, how you live your life, the philosophy you live by is going to determine where you live, where you end up. It can go in the other direction too. If you're living on a negative, weak, pump, give up, I don't care philosophy, and you always defeating yourself before you get into the race, then you're probably going to find your way to losing, right? So that links to things like when we talk about poverty mentalities versus wealth mentalities, scarcity mentalities versus abundance mentalities, negative toxic mentality versus prosperous, loving, caring, helpful growth mentalities. All those things matter. That's very, very important. Third piece of that, besides that, so we talked about the subconscious mind. We talk about life philosophy, like how you roll. What are you about? Who are you? Who the fuck are you? Excuse my French. Then there's the last part, which which actually goes back to dynamic optimization a little bit. And let me explain. I'll make it simple. I know that term probably sounds like a little crazy, but basically, in economics, this is a concept we figured out in economics. Basically, when you make a choice, when something changes, there's something inherent about you, especially if you live by a philosophy of hustling and always pushing yourself and always trying to do better and always figuring things out. What happens is you always optimize whatever decision you make. So that means that, there's nothing that can happen that's really the worst thing in the world that could possibly happen to you. Like you might say, gosh, I make $1 million a year. If on my job, if I lost that job, I would make $0 a year. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Because you would optimize based on the new situation. So an optimizer would say, oh, well, damn, I got fired from my job. That sucks. But wait a minute, I got 40 free hours a week. I can go do something else. So you never know. An optimizer might go from making $1 million a year to making $2 million a year or whatever, because now they're free. Now they're free to explore other options, like dating. Like if somebody dates you and then they dump you, if you're a person who doesn't optimize and you just sit there in the middle of your bowl of pee and tears that you create because you're feeling sorry for yourself, then yeah, you're gonna be single for a long time because you can't move forward. It's hard to do that, right? But a person who optimizes says, wait a minute, first they spend maybe 3 weeks being sad, but then they're like, wait a minute, I'm single. I can find a person that I really like, or I can find somebody who isn't fat, or somebody who doesn't get on my damn nerves, or somebody who doesn't use up all the toilet paper. And a lot of times optimizers are people who will be dumped out of a bad relationship, but they'll end up with somebody better. And so a year later, they want to send a thank you card to the person that they broke up with, because they're like, thank you for dumping me, because if you had not dumped me, I would not be in the better situation that I am right now. I've gone through that. I don't know if you've gone through that. I assume you've lived life. If you've lived life, then you know what love is, and you know what it's like to lose love, and you also know what it's like to rebound in a beautiful way. So life really is a journey of love. That's why I use a lot of love analogies, because I think that that's one thing that we understand from birth. But also, I want you to love yourself. I want you to love your possibilities. I want you to love your future. And I want you to just go out here and get what's yours, and don't be scared. Stop being scared, because that's one way to kill your possibilities is fear. Fear is the great inhibitor. Fear is the great killer. If your love and your passion is the great optimizer, then fear is the great sub-optimizer, de-optimizer, and great minimizer. So if you ever want to be small, weak, and broken, stay scared. But if you ever want to grow, prosper, and be great, have no fear. Go for it. All right. So anyway, I'm out of here. Make sure you subscribe. Also, subscribe at drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people, and hit the thumbs up button and all that good stuff. So I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day. I'll see you soon. Peace.